Hello there, welcome back to the FNAF Fan Club. I know it's been a while, especially with the fact that a lot of people are coming back because of the movie, the DLC. A lot of people are coming back and they don't realize that they're missing out on a lot of lore. But don't you worry, here, I even have a special seat just for you. Yep, tuck in. Oh, alright, where to start? Actually, the place that I should start is, did you wind the music box? The puppet still gets agitated. Old habits never die. It seems you didn't wind the music box. Don't worry, next time I got you. Just press subscribe. I'll cover you. I got your back. Now that we're past the formalities, let's start talking about FNAF. Now, this video isn't just limited to the new people, it's also for you veterans out there who are just looking for some FNAF content to watch. Don't worry, I got you. Now, the FNAF world, not the game, dang it. Fine, I'll change it. The FNAF universe is always changing with the release of new books and new games. However, in between all these changes, there are some staples of information that I feel you should know whenever you're approaching the FNAF lore, whether you've heard about it before or it's your first time. Now, whenever you're approaching the FNAF timeline, you have to understand one very simple thing, that either Henry or William Afton owned the pizzeria at first. It sounds very trivial and simple, but it has to be one of them because at some point they do decide to team up together. You see, it's really important that I hammer that point home because Henry and William have to have some form of relationship for that then to fall apart at some point. We know it falls apart because Henry would literally have his daughter killed by the hands of his thought-to-be partner, William Afton. Now, William Afton would commit this murder because Henry would build the animatronic that would kill his son. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I forgot that detail. Yeah. William has a family. You see, William Afton had 3 children. He had his oldest, Michael Afton, his youngest son, which was the crying child, and also Elizabeth Afton, his only daughter. And oh my goodness, did the crying child and Michael Afton have a very interesting relationship. You see, Michael tortured his younger brother for having an irrational fear of the animatronics. This fear would climax at one point with Michael literally lifting his brother up into the mouth of Fredbear as a joke of giving him a kiss, but instead of getting a kiss, he would get a nasty bite into his forehead. Now, at one point after this incident, Afton would feel a burning sense of anger against Henry because of what had happened. And so, whether under the influence of alcohol or not, he would actually go as far as to take the life of Charlie, Henry's daughter, as a form of revenge against Henry. Now, Afton would drive away, still fueled by this murderous anger that he was in, but without his knowledge, an animatronic named the security puppet would come outside and actually make contact with Charlie's body. It was at this moment that Charlie's spirit would actually go on to possess the puppet. And now this right here, this is super important. Alright, this next event is super important. You see, Afton's gonna go on a murder spree. He's gonna dress up in the spring Bonnie suit and he's gonna lure kids into the back of the restaurant by promising them something. Whether it's a birthday cake, whether it's food, or in his first victim's case, which was Susie, he's going to lure her into the back by pretending that he knows where her lost dog is. Now, as far as the murder order beyond this, we don't really know. We only know Susie's murder because we just hear her say it in Ultimate Custom Night.
I was the first. I have seen everything.
But beyond this, we just know that the other kids' names are Gabriel, Fritz, Jeremy, and Cassidy. And now the name Cassidy is going to be very important. So please put that in the back of your mind because it's going to be important. Now this murder spree is going to be called MCI, or Missing Children's Incident. It's super important because these children and their spirits would go on to possess the original 5 animatronics. So this is when Afton first started his crazy murder spree. Got it? Good. Alright, on to the next. Now after this initial murder spree, Afton was determined to bring back his son using animatronics. Despite Afton's little to no intervention in how his son was being bullied, Afton still loved his kid. He still loved the crying child, and as a matter of fact, it would provide us with one of the most iconic quotes of all time: "I will put you back together." Now Afton knew at this point that souls could possess animatronics. The only thing that Afton was missing was just further research and experimentation. He needed to know more about the world of soul science. Now in order to do this, Afton created what we now know as the Funtime animatronics. These animatronics, which seemed super fun, super futuristic, super great for the kids, actually were horrendous for the kids and were designed with super sinister technologies meant to capture live children for future experimentation. Now Afton of course tried to keep this secret, but unsurprisingly, some people did actually catch on to what he was trying to do.
There's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state-of-the-art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
With all due respect, Those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Now, Afton had tried keeping his daughter Elizabeth away from these animatronics. He understood how dangerous they were. I mean, he made them. He knew their functionality, and he also knew that they didn't care whose kid it was they killed. They had their objective, and they were always going to carry it out when they had the opportunity. However, against her father's wishes, Elizabeth found herself alone with the animatronic named Baby, and Baby did what Baby was programmed to do. Baby singled out a target, and the target was Elizabeth. She would then go on to capture Elizabeth, and sadly, Elizabeth would not survive the encounter. Now, as soon as all of this was found out, Afton instantly shut down what was to become Circus Baby's Pizza World. He shut it all down and blamed it all on gas leaks. However, as he was shutting everything down, he noticed something. You see, the blue eyes that Baby was built with had changed to the green eyes that Elizabeth had. And now here is where we will get a special word from our sponsors. And I have no sponsors, so back to more of me talking. Okay, so we covered the origins of FNAF. You know, Afton becoming a murderer, the original missing children incident, Elizabeth, the Funtime animatronics. We've covered all of that, but now it's time to move to another subject I always struggled in, science. Alright, I am not Bill Nye by any means. Trust me, I suck at real world science. But when it comes to FNAF science, I might as well have a PhD from FAS University. You see, within FNAF, there's just one itty bitty teensy weensy little bit of science that I have to explain. It's basically just called remnant and agony. You see, remnant is just soul juice. It's like a physical manifestation of souls. Remnant can be extracted from animatronics through a very careful process of melting down that animatronic into a molten liquid and then taking it and injecting it into other animatronics. Remnant itself is not harmful. It can just be used to give inanimate objects a sense of life. However, agony or dark remnant, this stuff is pure chaos. You see, agony is the result and trace left behind by a traumatic experience. So for an example, let's say an animatronic was used to murder someone. That animatronic could have a trace of agony left behind on it. This force is basically just pure rage and pain, and it's actually very, very strong. This force is actually collectible, and it's something that I believe is powering the blob, but more on that later. So this is my basic level explanation of remnant. Now the next big topic we have to tackle is Afton's downfall. You see, when Afton found out that the suits were possessed by the souls of his victims, he needed to dismantle them. He wanted to understand them and possibly would lead to new breakthroughs in his research of remnant and agony. Now he did this without realizing that by dismantling the suits, he was actually letting the spirits of the children roam free. They didn't have a physical form that they were bonded to. So what did they do? They grouped up and they trapped him in the back of the pizzeria. And when he was in the back of the pizzeria, Afton, for reasons that can be debated, hopped into the Spring Bonnie suit, possibly thinking that it would give him immunity. They wouldn't see him. Either way, it was just a one-way trip. He was not getting out. Now, due to the conditions of the pizzeria, the condition of the suit, the spring locks snapped. They snapped into him and it would permanently graft itself into his body. And Afton would be trapped inside that back room for 30 years until the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, Michael Afton, that's right, the son of William Afton, would actually take on his father. You see, Michael Afton was working as a security guard in a place called Fazbear's Frights. It was basically just a horror attraction designed to capitalize off the spooky, scary tales about the Five Nights at Freddy's pizzeria, and little did he know, the people who owned the horror attraction would find Springtrap behind that wall. Now, of course, as any sane person would react to seeing their father after 30 years, Michael tried to burn him. His attempt in burning his father included burning down the entire restaurant, the entire place, the whole attraction. Everything would go down in one blaze. However, Afton didn't die. He survived and would live on. Now, after fast forwarding a little bit of time, you'll find yourself in Five Nights at Freddy's 6. Now, please pause and give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. You've stuck with me this far. We can do it. We're almost there. So Henry decides to take a shot at Afton. So what does he do? He creates a fake restaurant. This restaurant is just a stand-up Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. It's not a real restaurant. It's designed as a trap. So what does he need for his trap? He creates a suit to capture the puppet, which holds the spirit of his daughter Charlie. Check. What does he do also? He finds a way to lure Baby, who now has roller skates for some reason. He also gets Molten Freddy, which is an amalgamation of the Funtime animatronics, and he gets good old William Afton.
I always come back.
Chickadee check, check, check. Here Henry burns down the restaurant. Even Michael is here, and Michael accepts his fate. Everyone is burned for one final time and put to rest, except for Afton. You see, Afton has a special place in Cassidy's mind. Cassidy was so kind that Cassidy created an eternal form of a purgatory where Afton can relive death over and over again. I will even let the animatronics explain it for you.
You won't get tired of dying, will you?
What is this new prison? Is it me trapped, or is it you? Perhaps it is us both.
What a gift to relish, a victim that can't perish. This is a nightmare that you want to wake from.
Wait, shh. Do you hear that? It's the birds chirping. No, wait, is that the sun? Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Alright, good. Now keep that image in your mind and hold it for after the video, because there's more lore to cover. Don't worry, we're approaching the end, and you should have seen the look on your face. It was hilarious. The final stretch of lore all hinges on the idea that there is a literal virus called Glitchtrap, which is a digitalized version of Afton's consciousness, and this virus can infect both technology and humans. Glitchtrap enters the picture when a company making a VR game for Fazbear Entertainment scans some old circuit boards for usable code. Glitchtrap then gets onto the game and would eventually go on to take over a beta tester by the name of Vanessa, and Vanessa would then quit her job and go get a job as head of security at the new Freddy Fazbear Pizzaplex. Here, she starts communicating with Glitchtrap more and more and starts to even create her own bunny mask and bunny costume, and this would be her alter ego, Vanny. Vanessa discovers that the Pizzaplex is conveniently built over the FNAF 6 pizzeria, and with this knowledge and access, she even is able to resuscitate the corpse of Springtrap, which is now labeled as Burntrap. However, all is put to an end by an agony-powered being named the Blob and a small but very intriguing child by the name of Gregory. Now after this, we know nothing. Now I can show you that picture of the sun and the birds chirping. Alright, listen to me. I skipped over a lot. This is not everything in Five Nights at Freddy's. There's a lot of details, and I'm probably going to get roasted for leaving some of them out. But this is a beginner's guide to FNAF. This is a lot of the basic and fundamental information that you need to know if you're newer or being refreshed on Five Nights at Freddy's, and I genuinely hope you enjoyed the video. Alright, well, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go outside and go touch grass. Are you kidding me, Scott? No, please no. Yeah, subscribe. Yeah, you know the drill.